Carlos Alcaraz has won the last 2 Grand Slam titles at the French Open on the clay and at Wimbledon earlier this summer. He enters as the favorite.
You have a bunch of depth there. Francis Tiafoe, Ben Shelton. They will likely play in round 3. The winner would play Djokovic, most likely, which would be an incredible match. I like Ben Shelton as a sleeper. If Djokovic is hurt, you never know. I think Shelton could actually be the guy that gets hot. The conditions favor him.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Hey, let's say it comes down for Matt Kuchar in the FedEx Cup ball. Let's say he doesn't make a cut, and it comes down to one shot. And
that's a good point.
And he keeps his card for the top 125 because he did make the jump from, I think it was 113 to 103. So he made a 10-spot jump. So he's got, 17, or let's see, that was not good math. He's got about 20.
Not a bad one. The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
We're into a different regime, different ownership, different head coach. I like the head coach. Dan Quinn is a good football man. He has been around where he's been. They have won. Yes, he's had some talent there.
I'm incredibly excited for what this brings to the team. The defense, I think, is underrated. I think this is a good football team. And also, you talk about extending drives. I think Daniels has that ability. And that's something that hasn't been seen in Washington for quite some time.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship.
The golf has been mesmerizing.
They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go!
That's what champions do.
It's officially hour number 2 right here on the early line, a fast-moving hour number 1 with a lot of hot topics, and we are going to continue that into hour number 2. It's Donnie Rightside, it's Stubbs Anderson, it's the SportsGrid Network at Sirius XM Channel 159. How are we feeling after that hour, Dubs? We feel like we got another hour, another 2 hours, maybe another 3 hours in us this morning on a Hump Day Wednesday.
Donnie, I just fitted in like maybe 100 push-ups through that commercial break. So I'm jacked. I'm ready to rock and roll. We got a lot going on for you sports fans. No shortage. So let's make some money. Let's keep that momentum rolling.
Let's do it here. And by the way, more NFL topics on the way. Absolutely. But get this. The NFL, Dubsy, we understand. It is about money. It's about making money. And it's about charging obscene prices to get into stadiums. And also, you want to buy a beer? It's like $20 for a can of beer. You want to buy a pretzel? That's a good $8 now. Oh, you want a bottle of water? Yeah, that's about $7.50 or higher, depending on what stadium you're going to. But that's not the issue we're going to have today. We understand when you go to an NFL game, you better pack your own lunch or eat in the parking lot before you get in the doors. But how about this? Front Office Sports reporting yesterday, the NFL owners have voted to approve the introduction of private equity into franchise ownerships. Firms will initially be capped at 10% of a team's equity. So more money invested into NFL franchises. The thing I get a kick out of, if you just scroll through X and social media and see what the fans think of this, because many people don't really understand what it means. And quite frankly, it's only 10%. It's not a controlling stake here. You're not going to have voting rights. But if you want to make money, private equity firms do this. Invest in a team, then you have to hold it for a certain amount of years. You sell it for a profit. That's how they do. But everybody in the actual comments here from Maximus, it'll be so cool when a regular season game between the Browns and the Cardinals cost a family of 4 $1,200 to get in the door and $300 for food and drink. It doesn't seem like the general public, Dubsy, is in love with private equities now joining the NFL ranks.
I was just checking my Bank of America account, Donnie. I cannot partake in jumping in with one of these private equity firms, and it doesn't sound like it can be a free-for-all. It sounds like there's only 8 firms that have actually been approved to go down this route. But I mean, it gets tougher and tougher. I was just out at SoFi Stadium last season. It was $80 for parking. The food and beverage, you can't bring in your own ham and cheese sandwiches, Donnie, because they're checking everything at the gate. You can't even bring in a bag. So I don't know about this one. More to come on that side of things. It's just another way for, I guess, the NFL to monetize of where it stands right now. They've already got a good grasp on where this thing sits, but hey, more. That's what we want to see.
By the way, Dubs, I was a season ticket holder for the Philadelphia Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field from the very first season it opened in 2003 right up to the Super Bowl season in 2017. The kick that we used to get out of it was early on, they told you can't bring in hoagies or sandwiches because it could be like a security threat, which they completely blew up. Because why? It was a security threat. It was the fact that they wanted you to pay $10 or $15, whatever it was back in the day, for a sandwich as opposed to bringing in your own. But the thing I could never wrap my head around, and I swear it is thievery, Dubs, as you just brought up, paying to park in an empty parking lot for a ticket you purchased to go into the stadium. I never understood it. But again, it's like going to a casino. It used to be like, hey, come park in our parking spots here. We just want you into the casino. Now you find yourself paying for parking at casinos just to get in. I understand it has nothing to do with the equity firms, but the whole concept of yes, and it's even more now. And in Los Angeles, paying $80 to drive your car to a game on top of what it's going to cost. How did we let this get away with it, Dubs? How did we not revolt against this?
It's not good enough, Donnie. I mean, parking should be free, but the worst part about it was I was running late to the game and I had the missus in the front seat and I didn't want to look cheap. So when the parking attendant says, hey, it's going to be $80, I couldn't flinch. I had to act like, well, $80 is not a big deal for Dubsy. It absolutely crushed me. So you know what I had to do? I had to double load up on that game that I was about to sit through for the next 3 hours trying to chase it back. I don't know if I actually hit that Sunday afternoon, but never a dull moment. A day out at the football is not what it once was.
I mean, you got to close a guy out in 5 and 4 on the golf course the day before, Dubsy, just to pay parking the next day overall. But the NFL is making some other changes, but maybe at a later time. And I'm big on technology, Dubs. If you start with Major League Baseball and you tell me right now, tonight, we are going to get robo-umps, which means the strike zone, we know exactly what it's going to be. There's going to be no hits and misses here. There's going to be no bad calls. I absolutely love that. I don't care about the human element one bit in Major League Baseball when it comes to getting the strike zone correct. But how about this? The NFL will not use its electronic system to measure first downs during the regular season this year, a source says, after continuing to test it during the preseason. Now, they say it might come in 2025. I got to tell you, sometimes I like nostalgic things, and I like anticipation to build. So isn't it fun where the line to gain is 4th and 1, a quarterback sneak, they go into the realm of you can't see where the football is, they spot it, then they bring the chains out and they stretch you and, it's a first down, or no, it's not a first down. I generally enjoy that here. Now, the NFL wants to get up with technology, so what they want to do is take that away and just have like a laser measure, and you move forward. If it's quicker, I understand, but I actually think that's a charming part of the game here, Dubsy. I don't want to miss out on it.
It is a charming part, and for the traditionalists, absolutely love it. And Donnie, I don't want to be that guy, but look, if I'm paying $80 for parking and I got to get out of there in a hurry, the quicker, the better. And if it can help eliminate a little human error, I'm all for it, Donnie. I'm that guy. I think the changes that we've seen in Major League Baseball, it's a big thumbs up. I would love to see this one from the NFL there as well. Why is it going to take 4 years to try and bring this thing in? It sounds like somebody's trying to cut a deal at the table again. I know what's going on here, Donnie.
What, the chain link gang holding this up? Like they want more money, they don't want to be busted out? Because even like the Major League Baseball umpires, right? They're not telling the umpires they're going away. Like you're still going to stand behind the plate as the umpire. You're just not going to call the balls and strikes. You get buzzed, it's a ball. You get vibrated there, it's a strike. It's very easy to do that. So I don't understand why the union in the umpires for Major League Baseball try to take that away. But the one thing we do like about the NFL over the years, like TV has basically changed a lot due to technology, and we're all here for it. Like try to watch a game from the 70s or 80s on their broadcast. You don't see the scoreboard. You don't see the score. It's like, we don't even know what down it is at this point. And then they flash some graphic up randomly at that point. Or even like back in the day for me in the 90s, Dubs, the 10-minute ticker that used to come up on the screen. It was like, oh, everybody gathers around the team. Okay, Dallas is winning. Okay, Seattle has the lead. Ooh, Tampa Bay is losing now. And you waited every 10 minutes for that ticker to come up. And now you see it on time to time. And also, how did we ever live without the line to gain, which means the first down marker, not having that line on the screen where you know exactly where it is? Remember having to actually think it out yourself, like, okay, they got to get to the 34, 33. Let me add that up in your head. So technology is good for the game at times. I just don't like to lose the nostalgia here, Dubsy.
Yeah, no, I get it, Donnie. Even when you're watching a game and you go there in person, there's a lot of signage on the field that's not actually on the field. They're just putting it in there via graphics or some green screen. I don't get. But look, that is one of the best things about some of the mainstream sports here in the States. When I first came across from Australia, I love the fact that Major League Baseball stays true to its traditions. I love the fact that when you watch Sunday football for the NFL, they're not blasted all over their uniforms and jerseys like a NASCAR driver. At least they're trying to stick true to that side of things. So I'm all for it, Donnie. You love to see it. Some of these things are what make this game so fantastic. Sunday afternoon, you want to see, I guess, a couple of constants there. So I know I'm going against. You got a good take on this one.
By the way, 030, 405, 06 in that range. Like, we didn't really have smartphones at that time. And I remember going to the games on a Sunday, and it was like a novel concept that they would post like statistics on one of the side scoreboards for fantasy football that you'd be glued to the entire game. And I remember, it wasn't long ago, like Wi-Fi in a stadium was not really a real thing. So you were just left with 70 to 80,000 people in a stadium trying to fight for the same space here to get that 3G or whatever it was back in the day to work on your phone. And forget about it. If there was a big play in the game or you wanted to call home and say, did you see what just happened at the stadium? Good luck fighting 70,000 people's cell signal just to try to make a phone call. We've come a long way in sports here with technology, and I love to see it here. But sometimes when I see that chain gang out there in the anticipation of a first down or not, I think that needs to stay in the game. Let's continue with the hot topics next. More gambling advice? Get ready. It's right here on the early line.
Mike Tomlin could have very easily put this to rest and say that, Russell Wilson is the starting quarterback.
Mike Tomlin's going to look at, hey, Russell Wilson led that clean drive. I think that separates him enough to give him the starting job. But I think you're right that the leash is going to be pretty short. And if Russell Wilson doesn't look good, Steelers fans pretty quickly are going to be calling for Justin Fields because of his scrambling ability.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When you're really, really amazing like this, people kind of take it for granted. Same with Ohtani, right? People will sort of see, oh, Ohtani did this, Ohtani did that, and it sort of, becomes normalized a little bit. But to put in context, Aaron Judge joins the 1,000 hit club, reaches, gets it done. So earlier this month, he was the fastest player to reach 300 home runs ever.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
We're into a different regime, different ownership, different head coach. I like the head coach. Dan Quinn is a good football man. He has been around where he's been. They have won. Yes, he's had some talent there.
I'm incredibly excited for what this brings to the team. The defense, I think, is underrated. I think this is a good football team. And also, you talk about extending drives. I think Daniels has that ability. And that's something that hasn't been seen in Washington for quite some time.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
The only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
Who's having fun? Certainly these two guys doing the show. Absolutely. Hopefully you're home there watching and listening in and following along with us because we got some hot topics on the way, which does include the NFL and the FanDuel Sportsbook to try to have some fun with. Now, Dubsy, fusion is the word of the day. We're not talking about nuclear energy at this point, but also, let me ask you this question. Fusion restaurants, a big fan? Ever been to one? Any thoughts on fusion food?
Donnie, no. I mean, I've probably got the taste buds of a 12-year-old. You know, give me a melted toasted cheese, Bob's your uncle. What is a fusion? Obviously, I'm going to buy in to what the name suggests. It's a little blend. It's a little mix of cuisines. Is it, Donnie?
Exactly. It's a blend of, let's just say, I don't know, Mexican cuisine, Italian cuisine, if you want a little Mediterranean mixed in with a little Spanish, stuff like that. So I've technically never been to a fusion restaurant and have eaten there, but I was joking with Ben last week, like Taco Bell. You know, you have the Mexican pizza, it's got Italian, it's got Mexican. That's as fast as I go to fusion at that point here. But the reason we have fusion bets here is we like to put two different teams into categories and see if we can make some money. We've been having some fun with this all week long, and we'll continue that today. How about this wager, Dubs? The Lions to have the NFL's best record and the Patriots to have the NFL's worst record. That comes in at a 36-1 price. So if we set the table for this one, we are expecting big things out of the Lions this year. Are they the favorites to get through the NFC into the Super Bowl? Not necessarily, but we're expecting that offense under Ben Johnson once again, Jared Goff at quarterback, to absolutely be a machine. On the other hand, we don't have such high expectations for the New England Patriots. 3, 4, maybe 5 wins. Is it feasible that the Lions could have the best record in the NFL, let's just say 14-3, and the Patriots could be, let's just say, 3-14 at a 36-1 price?
Yeah, and I mean, essentially 2 outcomes here. I'm buying in on the Lions. I think they're getting set to roar. We saw that last year for Dan Campbell, Jared Goff. Jared Goff, I would consider maybe pushing into being a top 5 quarterback in this league. My favorite wide receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he checks all the boxes. So the Lions, potent offense. Yes, I could absolutely see that. On the flip side, what's going on in New England? What is happening for the Pats? Who's going to be at quarterback? How are they going to get it down the field? I would argue the Patriots and the Carolina Panthers, they're going to be the biggest cupcakes coming in for the regular season. So, Donnie, yes, for the Lions to finish up top, thumbs up. For the New England Patriots to have the worst record, I could absolutely see that as well. And it's not like mind-blowing. The price that you're getting at plus 3,100, 31-1, that's a great buy.
Yeah, a lot of good prices out there. By the way, we had George Bellecchio on yesterday to talk about the New England Patriots. So I'm going to ask you the same question. In your mind, Dubsy, you got Drake May, the young quarterback you draft in the first round. You got the sage veteran in Jacoby Brissett. Now, for me, I don't think it makes a difference who you're going to start. You're not going to make the playoffs, and wins certainly are going to be tough to come by. Who do you start, Dubsy, for the New England Patriots? You go with the young buck, or are you going with the sage veteran to say, hey, guide us through some of these choppy waters here?
Yeah, and look, Donnie, I guess if the veteran, if I could see the upside that he could, you know, when you say, you know, guiding us through choppy waters, pick up a couple of wins, pick up a couple of victories, give us some kind of promise that Jacoby Brissett can get it down the field, I would say, okay, let's throw the salty vet in there. Maybe Drake May can just sit on the sidelines for the first 5, first 6, try and get a bit more confidence, figure things out coming up to the pro level. But I don't think we get any kind of hope with Jacoby Brissett as starting quarterback. We've seen all these tricks, all these tools before, and it's not enough with that offense to do anything. They're not going to compete. They're not going to contend through a first quarter, let alone going through 4 quarters. For Drake, mate, I think it could be a great learning opportunity. I'm just always so hesitant of throwing a young guy in at quarterback and not letting him succeed. We saw it there for Bryce Young, 63 sacks last year. That can absolutely ruin a young quarterback. It can ruin his confidence. And by year 3, year 4, he's probably looking at being a backup somewhere else. But in terms of this situation, Drake May is the guy. You've just got to try and set him up for success. And you cannot have that expectation set too high. Set the bar low if you're a Patriots fan. You're not expecting much. You can see that from that win total. They could still have the worst record for the regular season, but Drake May could still be successful in showing us a bit of ability as long as they can keep him fit.
Yeah, ruining a young quarterback's confidence, certainly not supposed to be on your list to do for the 2024 season here for Gerard Mayo and the New England Patriots. But let's take a look at some of those odds at the FanDuel Sportsbook to have the best record overall in the NFL. The top 5 as follows here. The Chiefs at a plus 850 price. The 49ers, 9-1. The Eagles at a plus 950. The Ravens at 10-1, along with the Lions at a 10-1 price. If you had one bet to make over those top 5 teams here in the odds market, who would get your vote for the best record on the 2024 season, Dubs?
Best record, I think the 49ers would be up there in the mix. Worst record, I think you're seeing it well with the Panthers. Obviously, I'm not big on. There's another market offered up here under this Fusions tab, Donnie, and I think you'll like this one. The Kansas City Chiefs to finish as the AFC's number 1 seed and the 49ers to finish as the NFC's number 1 seed. You look at the odds makers, they're telling us they're the 2 best teams to start the regular season. Obviously, they got that X factor and they're going to make that push at the right time of the year, but there's a good chance that they could both finish in those 1 spots. I know it was the Ravens in the AFC, but for the Kansas City Chiefs, and we highlighted in our number 1, I think they could take a step forward and show a bit of improvement through the regular season. You're getting plus 2,100, 21 to 1. So the 49ers with that best record, maybe it's the Chiefs up there for the AFC. Couple up, well, nice little score could be coming.
Yeah, it's interesting to let it play out, too, because the one thing we do know is, yes, we're expecting good football teams to play out over the entirety of the season. Let's also remind ourselves, last year, the Philadelphia Eagles, Dubsy, riding high at 10-1, only to crash and burn late in that season and then get embarrassed in the playoffs here. But they're still sitting at that $950 price. New offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, new images this year. A couple nice draft picks for them, rebuilding that secondary to see how it plays out. But the one team that always sticks out to me, which I love in the regular season, that's those Baltimore Ravens sitting there at a 10-1 price. The questions don't come up during the regular season when Lamar Jackson is healthy. He's going to be an MVP candidate. They're going to win a lot of football games. But the issues come up in the playoffs. But the best thing about that is the playoffs don't matter when we're talking about the seasonal best record here. It ends after week 18 and those 17 games are played. So maybe the Ravens at a 10-1 spot would be a decent look. More fusion wagers on deck. More fun to be had right here on the early line on the SportsGrid Network, Sirius XM Channel 159.
Mike Tomlin could have very easily put this to rest and say that, Russell Wilson is the starting quarterback.
Mike Tomlin's going to look at, hey, Russell Wilson led that clean drive. I think that separates him enough to give him the starting job. But I think you're right that the leash is going to be pretty short. And if Russell Wilson doesn't look good, Steelers fans pretty quickly are going to be calling for Justin Fields because of his scrambling ability.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When you're really, really amazing like this, people kind of take it for granted. Same with Otani, right? People will sort of see, oh, Otani did this, Otani did that, and it sort of, becomes normalized a little bit. But to put in context, Aaron Judge joins the 1,000 hit club, reaches, gets it done. So earlier this month, he was the fastest player to reach 300 home runs ever.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
We're into a different regime, different ownership, different head coach. I like the head coach. Dan Quinn is a good football man. He has been around where he's been. They have won. Yes, he's had some talent there.
I'm incredibly excited for what this brings to the team. The defense, I think, is underrated. I think this is a good football team. And also, you talk about extending drives. I think Daniels has that ability. And that's something that hasn't been seen in Washington for quite some time.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
It's Stubbs and Donnie right here on the early line for a Wednesday morning edition. Only a few days away from the month of September, only about a week away from the NFL starting their regular season. But we're also a day away from week 1 in college football, which means Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday football action. But let's have some more fun at the FanDuel Sportsbook here, Dubsy, with the Futures Fusion. How about this wager? The Chiefs and Chargers both make the playoffs at a plus 200 price, or at least 3 AFC North teams make the playoffs at a plus 260 price. So let's start with the Chiefs and the Chargers. Obviously, we expect the Chiefs to make the playoffs, win the division, possibly get to a Super Bowl and win it for a third straight year, which would be remarkable. The Chargers, new head coach in Jim Harbaugh coming from Michigan over to the Chargers. Herbert's the quarterback here, a changing of the guard with some of the talent, at least offensively for that team, but we still expect a competent effort. And then if we flip it over to the other side of the wager, at least 3 AFC North teams to make the playoffs at a plus 260 price. For me, maybe the toughest overall division in football. So when you see this wager, which way would you possibly go, Dubsy? Chiefs, Chargers to make the playoffs, or are you taking the 3 AFC North teams to make the playoffs at a plus 260 price?
Ravens, Browns, Bengals, all to make it through the playoffs, Donnie, at plus 260. Yeah, on a Wednesday. Look, on the flip side, we know the Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to make it in to the playoffs. It's the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh I'm probably buying in on long term. They're coming off a 5-win season last year. Your franchise quarterback, Justin Herbert, he's dealing with that plantar fasciitis. That is not something you want to have for your quarterback coming into week 1 of the regular season after an off season of losing a lot of vets, a lot of experience out of that locker room. So I think there's a couple of question marks for the Chargers. They'll show improvement from last year, but I don't think they make it in to the playoffs. So I'd be looking towards the AFC North. You saw from last year, very competitive, but every team having a really strong season. I think the Ravens are going to be right in the thick of it. Again, the Cleveland Browns, I feel like nobody is giving the Cleveland Browns enough respect. Still sneaking somewhat under the radar. I think the Steelers are going to struggle. I don't think they're going to get to 10 wins again this year. And for the Bengals, Joe Burrow, he's back, he's healthy. Jamar Chase looking like he's probably going to be there week 1 as well. So I'd take the 3 teams from the North to make it into the playoffs. It's not an easy feat, but right now all these teams have the right weapons in place.
It's 2 pretty good options here when you look at it, because it feels like they're giving you some outs, right? We don't expect the Chiefs, Dubsy, and barring massive injury, like let's just say Patrick Mahomes does play the entire season, I don't think they're going to win 7 or 8 games. Like, they're more likely to win 10, 11, 12, or 13 games, which means they're probably going to win the division, which automatically gets them into the playoffs. The tough part about the Chargers is I was actually hoping like last year's team with all that talent, particularly on offense, like the Keenan Allens and the Mike Williams, would have stuck around to go under Harbaugh and Herbert to see if that would have made a difference. Sooner than later, we do know the Chargers are going to be a formidable opponent out there in the AFC West. It's just what Harbaugh does. He wins everywhere he goes. But if we're looking from the 3 AFC North teams, for me, this is the tough challenge. Because if you separate them, Dubs, like if you removed and said, all right, we're going to take the Browns out of this division and let's just say the Ravens out of this division, then you say, okay, the Bengals, they probably should win the division, and maybe the other, just say the Browns are right behind them. But if we're trying to placate that same division, they're going to be playing each other on a week-to-week basis. Therefore, has to be a winner and has to be a loser. So sometimes you look at it and you say to yourself, how can we get 3 teams to the playoffs if we're beating our head against a brick wall on a week-to-week basis, just trying to beat these same teams? But the price points are intriguing. A plus 200 price on the Chiefs and the Chargers, but you get a little bit more of a return if you can get those 3 NFC North teams. Let me ask you this question on the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson, who had such high expectations coming over from the Texans trade to the Browns, hasn't worked up, or should I say, haven't lived up to the expectations, and not even by a long shot on that contract. You take a look at him having a little bit of shoulder issues and arm fatigue in training camp, and Nick Chubb is going to be placed on the PUP list here for the first 4 games. Any worries about the Browns knowing they might be a little bit damaged goods here coming into the 2024 season?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess that's been the knock for Deshaun Watson over the last couple of years and everything he's dealing with off the field. I mean, you certainly need him at full health, full billing, and that's the way he plays it. He needs to get out of that pocket, use the wheels to scramble. But I'm still bullish. I think Deshaun Watson can turn it back a couple of years if he's fully healthy and find that top stride. Obviously, Nick Chubb, he has to return. You've got Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, so the pieces are in place. And don't forget, on the other side of the ball, big bad Myles Garrett coming at the quarterback.
Yeah.
So I like the Cleveland Browns. I think they're going to be right in the mix.
So much fun to talk about. You know what else is fun? Ohtani and Judge and the damage they're doing this year. Let's talk about it next.
Mike Tomlin could have very easily put this to rest and say that, Russell Wilson is the starting quarterback.
Mike Tomlin's going to look at, hey, Russell Wilson led that clean drive. I think that separates him enough to give him the starting job. But I think you're right that the leash is going to be pretty short. And if Russell Wilson doesn't look good, Steelers fans pretty quickly are going to be calling for Justin Fields because of his scrambling ability.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When you're really, really amazing like this, people kind of take it for granted. Same with Ohtani, right? People will sort of see, oh, Ohtani did this, Ohtani did that, and it sort of, becomes normalized a little bit. But to put in context, Aaron Judge joins the 1,000 hit club, reaches, gets it done. So earlier this month, he was the fastest player to reach 300 home runs ever.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
We're into a different regime, different ownership, different head coach. I like the head coach. Dan Quinn is a good football man. He has been around where he's been. They have won. Yes, he's had some talent there.
I'm incredibly excited for what this brings to the team. The defense, I think, is underrated. I think this is a good football team. And also, you talk about extending drives. I think Daniels has that ability. And that's something that hasn't been seen in Washington for quite some time.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
The only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
Major League Baseball historic numbers. We're no stranger to those as of late because there are two guys, one in each league, that are doing absolute damage, and that's Aaron Judge and it's Shohei Ohtani. What a wonderful baseball season for both of these players. MVPs, no doubt about it. But let's take a look at some of these historical outlooks that we could be looking at, and starting with Aaron Judge. Just looking at the season, Dubs, that he's having right now, a .333 batting average, 51 home runs, 122 RBI, and an OPS of 1.197. Absolutely flat out incredible. The MVP, no doubt about it. But if we are looking at the FanDuel Sportsbook and seeing what Aaron Judge could possibly do this year, 63-plus home runs. That's at a -110 price. For him, it's 65-plus home runs. That's a plus 240 price. 70-plus home runs, getting into that Barry Bonds territory at a 27-1. Let's just start with Aaron Judge and what he's done this season in that Yankees pinstripes. It's been nothing short of phenomenal. And yes, he could hit 60-plus home runs this year. Incredible.
It's truly a tremendous feat. And for the Yankees, when a lot of the other big superstars, I guess some of the other in the lineup really have got a little missing, Aaron Judge continues to be the superstar that they need in New York. You look at the key numbers here, leads in dingers, first in ribbies, first in OPS at 32 years of age. We saw over last weekend, puts him right back on pace to hit that 63 mark and counting. You know, back in the day, Donnie, they say there was only one Babe Ruth. Well, we've got a couple right now with him and Showtime Ohtani. But for Aaron Judge, The big fella continues to get it done. I think there will be a bit of a slow up towards October. And I feel like I'm being quite the pessimist here on a Wednesday, but no two ways about it. Aaron Judge and what he is doing this year for the Pinstripes is truly special stuff. The guy's an absolute mountain. It doesn't matter who's throwing at him. The stuff that he faces on the nightly, he has just seen him so well and continues to send him yard at a high clip.
I mean, if we're looking at Aaron Judge here on the season, because as we know, like, power hitters aren't supposed to do this. Are they supposed to hit home runs? Absolutely. But usually it's like, hey, Dubs, Aaron Judge hitting 232. That's okay. He's got 50 home runs. Like, he's one of the best averages in Major League Baseball for a power hitter, which is astounding to actually think about that. So he's still getting the singles, the doubles, and the home runs here and doing it at a high rate. But now as we take a look at, and I think you brought up a key ingredient here, in the month of September, let's just say he does cool off. But a lot of times, Dubs, that's not because of his own doing. When you are in a pennant race, when you are in a divisional race, other teams are going to get smart to the game and go, now hold on. He's hitting 333 with 51 bombs. We haven't even got to September. Why are we pitching to this guy? So if you were to wager on 63, 65, or 70 plus home runs, that has to cross into your mind, because it's not as if it's batting practice. Like, every single night, you know they're going to pitch to him, because there's going to be times like, ooh, let me bet Aaron Judge to get an RBI tonight. Let me bet him to hit a home run. Hey, look at this. Runners on second and third with 2 outs. Aaron Judge is up. You know where he's going, Dubs? He's going to first base on an intentional walk at that point. So if you are betting Judge down the stretch, is that creeping into your mindset now, where he might just not get the opportunities, let alone the execution?
Absolutely. And a lot has to go in favor. I mean, we got to take a pause and say, we're talking about Aaron Judge to potentially put up 63 home runs. This is wild. You know, if we go back to the regular season, at the start of the regular season, you'd be saying, no, he's never going to get back to 62. So much has to go right in favor. You've highlighted the struggles he will have going against opposing teams. Their aces, they're going to put him straight on first, take the gloves off, so he might not have ample opportunity. It's like looking at a football game where the total's at 70 points. A lot has to go right to get 63 home runs for the season. I don't care if he's already got 51 and still climbing. It's not a question towards Aaron Judge and his ability or the way he's seen him. It's just about the situation that the opposition will put him in. And I think those chances will start to shorten up, and it will be tougher and tougher on the nightly for Aaron Judge to continue to put up these dingers. So at 63 plus at minus 110, I think that's a pretty sharp number.
And by the way, Juan Soto, you just saw that graphic that flashed up on the screen, 50-plus home runs for him this year. That's at a 7-to-1 price. He's currently sitting at 37 home runs. If you want to combine the two at the FanDuel Sportsbook and have some fun with that, Judge and Soto to have 110-plus home runs combined, that's at a plus 145 price. Judge and Soto to have 115-plus home runs, that's at a 9-to-1 price. Now, in the American League, it is going to be absolutely Aaron Judge running away with the MVP. The National League, the same thing. Shohei Ohtani came off off-season surgery to repair his elbow. There were questions whether or not he was even going to start the season, let alone play the full extent of the season. The one thing we do know, he wasn't going to pitch this season. They're hoping to get him on the mound next year. But my goodness, when you pay $700 million, you better get a return back on your investment. You see the statistics there. A 294 average, 41 home runs, 94 RBI. And keep in mind, he's not batting in the fourth or fifth hole where the table is always set. He's primarily, since Mookie Betts got hurt, the leadoff hitter and still stays in that leadoff position today. But how about this? Shohei Ohtani, Dubs, 40 stolen bases. He does it all.
Yeah, became the 6th member of the 40-40 club, and he looks to be the consummate professional. You know, never met Ohtani, but looks to be a real locker room guy, and it's $700 million. Yes, that's a whopping price tag, but you could make the argument he has exceeded expectations, and that's a big thing to say for the Dodgers, where there's certainly a lot of expectations for all of their firepower. For Ohtani, after that injury, of course there's going to be concerns. He's still 30 years of age. He's not getting any younger, but from what we've seen this year for the Dodgers, where they've had their own struggles, their own inconsistencies, I mean, this guy continues to step up and deliver on the nightly, and I just feel like he's got this, this gravitas towards the special occasion, doing special things. Not that Aaron Judge doesn't have that either, but this is a guy who can absolutely take the Dodgers back to the World Series heights. So he has been absolutely fantastic. Cannot wait to see if they can get him back out there on the hill next season. But from what we've seen this year, Showtime Ohtani continues to do very special things, Donnie.
I mean, locked in as well. And also, let's remind ourselves, like sometimes when you have a little bit of turmoil in your personal life, it sort of spills over onto the Major League Baseball diamond or wherever you work. But how about this year? You know, gambling, getting millions of dollars stolen from him from his interpreter, and still going out and putting an MVP showcase performance on a night-to-night basis. That's phenomenal. If we are looking at the FanDuel Sportsbook with some options to bet Ohtani this year, how about the 50-50 club? 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases, a plus 170 price. That's ridiculous. Ohtani to get the triple crown, which means batting average, home runs, and RBI. That's 10-1. Marcell Ozuna of the Braves, if he can crack into it, a plus 750 price for the triple crown. Aaron Judge, who we talked about, a plus 520 price to win the triple crown. And then there's Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Guardians, who's a sensational player to get to the 40-40 club. That's at a plus 130 price. Imagine that. A 50-50 player, Dubs. That's unbelievable.
It really would be. And again, we're playing the situations. I think Ohtani's probably got a better chance of getting the 50-50 club than trying to win that triple crown at 10-1. Ohtani's still going to have plenty of chances moving through the next month here in terms of the stolen bases. That's not going to be really affected there. So I love what I'm seeing from Showtime Ohtani. I think that's where I'd be looking, the 50-50 club. And Donnie, you know, threw out earlier that, you know, Babe Ruth, we've seen some special generational talents come and go through Major League Baseball. Has there ever been a generation where we've had two superstars at the peak of their powers squaring off like we're seeing this year?
And almost, how about this? Last year, Shohei Ohtani was in the American League. So imagine if these two players were still in the American League and doing battle. Who would actually get that MVP? We're going to set that question up to the public here a little bit later in the show when we hit the Fade the Public. But these two players having absolutely sensational seasons. Now, the one thing you want to focus on Aaron Judge is, you know, there's a running joke around here at the SportsGrid Network. Joe Frieser, the producer of this show, along with Ben Stevens, maybe they don't think that Aaron Judge will be the favorite next year in the MVP race. That's very questionable thinking, people. We'll debate that much more next. It's time to talk some golf. It's Atlanta. Let's get there.
Mike Tomlin could have very easily put this to rest and say that, you know, Russell Wilson is the starting quarterback.
Mike Tomlin's going to look at, hey, Russell Wilson led that clean drive. I think that separates him enough to give him the starting job. But I think you're right that the leash is going to be pretty short. And if Russell Wilson doesn't look good, Steelers fans pretty quickly are going to be calling for Justin Fields because of his scrambling ability.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When you're really, really amazing like this, people kind of take it for granted. Same with Ohtani, right? People will sort of see, oh, Ohtani did this, Ohtani did that, and it sort of, you know, becomes normalized a little bit. But to put in context, Aaron Judge joins the 1,000 hit club, reaches, gets it done. So earlier this month, he was the fastest player to reach 300 home runs ever.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
We're into a different regime, different ownership, different head coach. I like the head coach. Dan Quinn is a good football man. He has been around where he's been. They have won. Yes, he's had some talent there.
I'm incredibly excited for what this brings to the team. The defense, I think, is underrated. I think this is a good football team. And also, you talk about extending drives. I think Daniels has that ability. And that's something that hasn't been seen in Washington for quite some time.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
The Tour Championship, the big purse, it's all here this week down in Atlanta at East Lake Golf Club. Watching this play out will be sensational. Now, the reason that we bring on Dubs Anderson is here. He is a fine co-host. We know a lot about a lot of topics, but this man knows the PGA Tour, and thank goodness I have him with this segment. So, Dubsy, let's just lay it out here. The Tour Championship will be played this weekend. As I said, a huge purse here. But let the people know, if they weren't following along yet, how did we get this point with the Tour Champion this week? And also, how does it play out, and what are some of the rules that everybody can look forward to?
Yeah, it's a little different this week, Donnie. It's the last event for the FedEx Cup playoffs, so it is the season finale. A lot of money on the line, $25 million for whoever finishes up on top at East Lake on Sunday afternoon. It was 70 players to start the playoffs. It became 50 there last week, and we've now only got 30 remaining. There's going to be no cut for this one, so every golfer that tees off on Thursday has a really good chance of going through to the weekend and making a bit of a tilt up this leaderboard. Now, the starting positions is a unique one. It's a staggered scoring start. So we do this in trying to reward the better players through the regular season. So how's it going to look on Thursday morning? Scotty Scheffler will start this tournament at 10 under par. Xander Schauffele, he'll start in second place at 8 under par. Hideki Matsuyama, he'll start at 7 under par. And we keep on seeding the golfers once we get to 5 under by 5 shots a piece here. So a lot of the golfers will be starting 8 shots back, 9 shots back, 10 shots back. So it really is such a benefit for playing some good golf throughout the season. Scotty Scheffler, he's had 6 wins, including a gold medal as well. Xander Schauffele's had the 2 majors, and he looks to be playing with a chip on his shoulder. So if you look at the markets this week, you'll be saying, gee, Scotty Scheffler, that's a little short at plus 110, but he will start on Thursday at 10 under par. And this is going to be a familiar spot for your world number 1. He's gone off there as the top choice the last couple of years, but has failed to get it done. It was Victor Hovland taking up a 7-shot margin last year to ultimately lift the trophy at the Tour Championship. So for us, what does that tell us? It's never easy being a front runner on the PGA Tour. It's very tough trying to lead a tournament going through Saturday afternoon through to Sunday afternoon. For Scotty Scheffler, he has got to carry that expectation starting bright and early on Thursday morning. And for all of the chasers, well, they're not expected to get the win, so they're playing with a little house money, so they can just play a little looser, a little freer on what looks to be a revamped East Lake Golf Club over there in Atlanta. They'll play it as a par 71 this year at 7,500 yards. I was covering this tournament a couple of seasons back, Donnie. This is a big ballpark. It's the ultimate test. It brings a bit of water into play. But a good thing for all of these golfers is this is prime time. This is where they try and trend their golf game up towards. They want to play well in the majors. They want to play very well here, considering how much money is at stake.
Exactly. You're taking a look at these guys. Now, they're used to playing for obviously big purses here, but when you're looking to win a tournament between $2.5 and $3 million, now up that to $25 million heading down the stretch, a lot more pressure. Let's talk a little Scotty Scheffler at this point, because sometimes you want to be, the same way we talk about Major League Baseball, heading to your best form here late in the season. Scotty Scheffler, not all that impressive last week here. Do we worry about the carryover for Scheffler? And also, Scheffler thinking about, I've been in this position before and haven't been able to close the door. What could change for Scotty Scheffler this week? And it does help that he's going to take an advantage the minute he tees off as the favorite. Why? Because he has a stroke advantage here.
Yeah, and I think from what we've seen, in the last couple of weeks for Scotty Scheffler, the PGA Tour season, it is a long one. Scotty became a father for the first time this year. He's gone through a couple of things off the golf course as well, notably at the PGA Championship. To have 6 wins, to go over to the Olympics, to now be a dad, it's very taxing once you get to this point of the season. Now, he's not going to throw a tournament away. Scotty Scheffler's not going to come out on Thursday and post up a 76 or a 77. That's not his style. He's very consistent, and he keeps the big numbers off the scorecard. It's going to be up to one of these chasers to make up the inroads. They're going to have to go lights out in trying to overtake Scotty Scheffler. At plus 110, I think that number is a little too short for mine. And if you like Scotty Scheffler, you're best waiting after round 1. If he doesn't do anything, that's when you're going to get a better price. If Xander Schauffele can take over that lead, Scotty Scheffler could drop back to plus 300, plus 400, and then he loses the expectation. He becomes the chaser, and he's the one playing with house money. So I think Scotty Scheffler has looked a little tired out there on the golf course. I think a plus 110 prior to the tournament starting. I think that number is far too short for mine. Xander Schauffele, that's the play I'd be watching out for at the top of the leaderboard. I mean, he always had the knock, Donnie, that he couldn't close out on a Sunday afternoon. Now with 2 major championships behind his name at plus 230, suddenly he's looking like a golfer that you do not want to mess with. He has that quiet dog out there on the golf course, and the course history is fantastic here at Eastlake.
Yeah, slight little change here in the odds market as well. Scotty Scheffler goes from a plus 110 price to a plus 115 price here at the FanDuel Sportsbook. There are a couple different markets here, Dubs, to actually bet into. You can take the Tour Championship odds, which means starting with the strokes advantage. And as we just updated you here, plus 115 for Scheffler. Schauffele still at a plus 230 price. But you can also bet this tournament 72-hole stroke play odds, which changes Schauffele from that plus 115 favorite currently to a plus 470 favorite, along with Scotty Scheffler and Schauffele tied at that 470 piece. Is there a betting market that you like better? Do you like the advantage of the strokes, or would you rather just take the overall whole stroke play odds?
I don't mind playing this side of things, and I think a play that stands out to me is Wyndham Clark. He's north of 20-1. If you just play the 72-hole stroke play, he'll start at 4 under par. I don't mind him at 50-1 in the outright market there as well. He's obviously going to make up the margin of 6 shots, but this is a guy who looked fantastic at Eastlake last year. He went on to finish 3rd. He's got a major to his name now, and he hits it an absolute mile. 6th in driving distance on the PGA Tour. Wyndham Clark is a guy who wants that smoke. If you're looking for a top 10 finishing position play, look towards the Aussie, Adam Scott. Yes, the salty older vet of this field. I believe he is the oldest player in this field. He's got course history over the rest of these younger competitors. He knows Eastlake inside out, and you get him at plus 145, not just for a top 10, which I'd play any other week. He's just going to finish in the top 3rd of this field this week, Donnie. Give me Adam Scott. He's played here 7 times at plus 145 for a top 10.
Eastlake Golf Club, Atlanta, Georgia, the place to be. Par 71, changes made to the golf course. A lot of fun had by all, and a lot of money looks to be made. Let's flip it over to the hard court, the U.S. Open, live from New York. We'll talk about it next.
Mike Tomlin could have very easily put this to rest and say that, Russell Wilson is the starting quarterback.
Mike Tomlin's going to look at, hey, Russell Wilson led that clean drive. I think that separates him enough to give him the starting job. But I think you're right that the leash is going to be pretty short. And if Russell Wilson doesn't look good, Steelers fans pretty quickly are going to be calling for Justin Fields because of his scrambling ability.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When you're really, really amazing like this, people kind of take it for granted. Same with Ohtani, right? People will sort of see, oh, Ohtani did this, Ohtani did that, and it sort of, becomes normalized a little bit. But to put in context, Aaron Judge joins the 1,000 hit club, reaches, gets it done. So earlier this month, he was the fastest player to reach 300 home runs ever.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
We're into a different regime, different ownership, different head coach. I like the head coach. Dan Quinn is a good football man. He has been around where he's been. They have won. Yes, he's had some talent there.
I'm incredibly excited for what this brings to the team. The defense, I think, is underrated. I think this is a good football team. And also, you talk about extending drives. I think Daniels has that ability. And that's something that hasn't been seen in Washington for quite some time.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
Tennis people, the U.S. Open taking place in Flushing, Queens this week and next week. It's a rite of passage for Labor Day weekend. A lot of money, certainly, we just talked about in golf will be handed out. The same thing here in tennis. The men's title, the women's title. By the way, Dubs, big tennis fan are you? Is that correct? Yes or no?
Massive tennis fan, Donnie. Anything you can do on grass, I mean, play on the surface, big thumbs up from your guy.
Now, finally, here's what we can get down with. Like the Australian Open played on a hard surface. The U.S. Open, you played on a hard surface. I have no idea what we're doing overseas, playing on grass and clay, so it's good to be back on home court for us. Now, if we are looking at the men's side of it, Djokovic is a 2-1 favorite to win this tournament, followed by Carlos Alcaraz at a plus 220, Sinner at a plus 360, and Zverev at a plus 850 number. Now, typically, the cream usually rises to the top in the majors. Very rarely do we get a ton of surprises on winning these tournaments. So if we are just looking at the favorites themselves, do you have any opinions on whether it will be Djokovic, whether it would be Alcaraz, or whether it would be Sinner at this point? Or are you looking a little bit down the board for a winner from the men's side?
Yeah, I mean, it's a couple of interesting storylines on the men's side of things. Novak Djokovic, he's in search of his 25th slam, but hasn't had success at the first 3 of the year. The top-rated player, Jannik Sinner, he comes in with a bit of controversy with a couple of fellow players really going after him after a couple of failed samples, if you will. He sits there at plus 360, and King Carlos Alcaraz, well, he's had success, and he'd be the one to beat at plus 220. But given the head-to-head record and the way that this draw shapes up, I think Novak Djokovic, if you're looking to put a portfolio of plays together, rightfully so, should be at least the co-favorite in this one. It's a bit of a standout how many live chances we have on the American side of things. 5 contenders ranked inside the top 20 for the American men. It feels like it's the coming of age, for 2024, the first win at the Slams in 21 years. I don't think that's too far away. But the price play for me is Daniel Medvedev. You can see he was at 15-1 plus 1,500, considered to be a bit of a hard court specialist. You need a bit of all-round game, a bit of power in the mix there as well. And this is a guy that's never going to take a backward step. So at 15-1, Daniel Medvedev certainly makes a bit of sense for mine. We can see the American players there. Benny Shelton at a big price, Tommy Paul, Taylor Fritz. And what about Seb Korda? He really knows how to get around the court. They're having a nice all-round game. So in terms of the betting side of things, it's Novak Djokovic, the chalk up top of the board, still in search of that first slam for 2024. I think he's got a really good chance of taking a look at the head-to-head record against King Carlos Alcaraz. And in terms of that price play, it's Daniel Medvedev at 15-1. He's hungry, he's motivated, and this is not a player that you want to be going against at the US Open. Someone who's going to feed off that crowd energy, it's going to be Daniel Medvedev.
Yeah, Djokovic there at a plus 220 price. Now the favorite, you saw Alcaraz, who was the favorite here, stumble a little bit yesterday, but still advance in the U.S. Open. But obviously, when you watch a player that's playing great, when you watch a player that's playing not so great, those odds are going to change, and maybe those two will match up. Flipping over to the women's side here, Sabalenka at a plus 200 price, Swiatek at a plus 400, Golf plus 950, and Rybakina at 11-1, then followed by the American Jessica Pegula at 14-1. Any thoughts on that side of it? Because it looks like Sabalenka there at a 2-1 price, clear of the field right now.
Yeah, Sabalenka at plus 200 has reached the semifinal of final in her last 3 U.S. Open appearances. So we know the preferred surface is going to be this one for Sabalenka. Comes in having a really good 2024. Swiatek drops a little in the market. Iggy's still one of the best on the women's side of things. But I think this is where we can chase a bit of variance. We've got Coco Gauff hovering right around plus 950. We saw as the teenage sensation getting it done here last year. It's been a bit of a mixed bag for 2024, but if Coco Gauff can just find a bit of confidence going through week 1 here at the US Open, I think she's absolutely live at plus 950. This is the turnaround spot where she can draw back onto this time last year, find a bit of confidence, has the power in bunches, and has quite the price to match.
How about this? In the main court today at Arthur Ashe Stadium, 2 p.m., you're going to get Shevchenko versus Tiafoe. That's a heavy favorite here for Frances Tiafoe at a minus 720 price. You also see Dejeri going up against Djokovic, a minus 5,000 price. And then for the women on center court, Madison Keys and Maya Joint. Madison Keys is a minus 550 price. And then finally, Tatiana Maria and Coco Gauff. Coco Gauff, a minus 4,500 price. Any thoughts on today? Will we be watching any tennis over there in your direction there, Dubs?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Tiafoe and Coco Gauff jump within and play the sets. Don't worry about trying to play this outright. You'll see that in week one as they go against the unseeded players. A couple of easy beats, play within the sets. And I think we can see a couple of clean ones this afternoon.
I've watched every single minute of the U.S. Open, people, and hour number 3 is coming up next. We're going to talk best baseball player on the planet.